We are going live. Hey everyone, welcome to next VirtualMuleys session. Today we have Edgar Moran with us from SiteTracker. What we are going to talk about today is how do you use secure properties in your Mule application. It's a noon time here in EST time zone. I know there are probably late evenings and different times at your location. So we really appreciate you guys joining us today here. So without any further ado, probably I will hand over to Edgar and let him introduce himself, and then we'll jump into this presentation. One thing I'll mention here is if you are watching on the YouTube desktop on right hand side of your presentation, you should see a chat window. During the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in that chat window. Once presentation is over, we will take care of all the questions and we'll answer them as many as we can within the given time, right? So with that said, Edgar, it's you.
I think I'm hearing delay. Okay, perfect. All right, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining. First of all, my name is Edgar Moran. I'm an integration architect at SiteTracker, and today's video will be basically related to how to secure properties file in MuleSoft. And this is going to be just pretty much a workshop, something like we are going to put hands on how to do stuff. I have a presentation prepared, but basically I would like to show you guys how to do certain stuff, basically MuleSoft, and then as a plus, and if I have enough time, I would like to show you also how to implement the security part also whenever we deploy, and we use CI for deploying application automatically. So basically CI process in general. So I think we're good then. Sure. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me stop it right now. Yep. And let me just go share screen here. All right. Let me know. Okay, they say like the audio is back, I think. Where we where is Mhm. Okay, okay, that'll be fine. All right. Yeah. All right, everyone, just someone can tell me you can hear me. Let's see. Just to confirm. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So, all right. Once again, the agenda will be just talking about how we can secure our project and how we are gonna try to encrypt our YAML files in that specific project. And as I mentioned before, we are going to create a project from scratch, basically, including those YAML files. We are going to encrypt some data. We are going to decrypt the data using Salesforce connector, basically just to see that the decryption is working. And later that we are going to deploy our application using a Circle CI connected to Bitbucket and seeing how the application gets deployed into any point platform. Okay. So, all right, so I'm going to move. All right, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about me. My name is Edgar Moran again. I'm integration architect at SiteTracker. I'm also a Salesforce developer, a Force.com developer. I've been working at SiteTracker for around 2.5 years, and basically almost all the time I've been working with the MuleSoft platform in this company, plus a couple of years in my previous job too. So overall, 4 years working with MuleSoft products, creating new projects, connecting stuff, basically integrations. That's what I love the most. And I have overall 10 years of experience just overall developing and C Sharp, Java, PHP, and using Salesforce and MuleSoft, right? So overall the experience goes through all of those technologies. You can find me on Twitter as well. My handle is at Moran. So basically, I like to create some blogs too, trying to help the community and forums. And I have a personal blog too, where I'm posting whatever I just experimenting, trying to use like these kind of things, right? Like CI processes, MuleSoft or Salesforce. I'm kind of trying to get my blog a little bit populated. It's a little bit hard with the time, but there's always a little bit of time for doing this for the community. I'll link the profile too, so you're interested. And obviously, just briefly talking, in the company, we use MuleSoft, and we would like to love to connect with other people too. If you are interested, definitely get in touch. All right. Okay, so let's talk about why to secure information in general in our projects, right? So all companies want projects and information to be secure this time. And this is because information is the most powerful asset these days. So whenever we are working in a personal project and a company project, our information always needs to be secure. So for specifically in projects, we are going to make sure how we can keep all the sensitive data hidden. And this can be username, password, and tokens. Usually, some people talk about credit cards, but in this case, we are not doing that because there's some other companies that do it and basically take a look into the security for those kind of things. But in our projects, we always have a repository, an email account, maybe a database or something. So basically, we want to keep some passwords hidden as just as a best practice, right? So in the end, this is a general best practice for any kind of development, not just for MuleSoft. All right, so I'm gonna kind of talk a little bit of what we are gonna do, just in the theory, and then I'm gonna jump into a hands-on. So I'm gonna make this a little bit quick. So Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Let me know you want me to stop and reshare. Let me see if. Okay, just give me one second. Oh, okay, that's better, right? All right. So, okay. So, resuming a little bit. Oh, okay, this one, right? Let me see. All right, that was good, right? Okay. So, all right. So, yeah. Basically, we already talked about this, right? Why secure information? Companies want to have information protected. Uh, the information is the most powerful asset we have these days, and obviously, we want to keep it safe. And for every single project, it doesn't matter if it's MuleSoft, is any other technology, we need to have all the sensitive data encrypted in a safe place, right? That's why we have properties file, we have encryption, and as I mentioned before, it's just a general best practice for every single developer. All right. All right. So these are going to be just a few slides of what we are going to do on the hands-on, basically. And yeah, so basically we are gonna need to jump into our studio. We are gonna need to open Exchange, and from that we are gonna start just looking for our secure properties configuration on Exchange. We are gonna implement that into our project. We are going to also prepare a few files, our YAML files, our properties files in our project. Basically, I'm going to create three of them: developer, test, and production. So basically, you get the idea. So every one of them are or will be connected to a specific branch. Yeah, we are gonna populate our YAML files with some information. We are gonna use just I think maybe a few attributes right now. One for getting connected, the Salesforce connector, and then also maybe just an environment variable just to know where we are. We're going to add global properties and global configurations to our project that will allow us to, at some point, to use the CI process, but also just to keep it consistent with the variables that we are using in our local project. Later that we are going to secure our YAML files now. So basically we need to include a security properties configuration in our project as well, just after we download the security part from Exchange. And yeah, we are going to just encrypt our YAML files with, with the encryption mode and the algorithm that we need. All right. I'm going to try to explain how to make the encryption using our terminal. This is a feature that we had before in 3.9. I'm going to do it manually in Mule 4. Probably there's something that we can implement that you guys know how to do it directly in the studio. That'll be awesome too. So far, I'm doing it just manually. And we are going to see how the attributes, how we need to set the values in our YAML file too, in order to make the whole encryption happen. All right. We're going to learn how to decrypt those values, basically, how MuleSoft actually is going to know that there's an encrypted value and how to decrypt it. We are going to run our project. We are going to test it out just to see everything in local looks fine. And later that we are going to start adjusting our project in order to send everything to CI process and deploy our application dynamically. So for this last part, basically, we are going to do is we're going to set our project into cloud control. In this case, I'm going to use Bitbucket. You can do it eventually with GitHub or Azure. We are going to decide in this case to use Circle CI, but at some point you also can probably implement it using Jenkins or Travis CI as well. We are going to move our POM.xml file. Maybe I'm going to explain just what the settings file will be in our project as well doing. And we are going to deploy our application into any POM runtime and our runtime manager. All right. So, all right. So I'm going to start opening my studio. If that's okay, Manik, just for continuing the hands-on. All right. So, all right. Let me change the resolution completely just to make it display. Let me see. Actually, I have it more space. No. Let me see. Let's see. No, doesn't look better. Yeah, if not, I'm gonna make the studio smaller. Maybe just to the screen. We can see. Let me let me, let me do that. Okay. That's okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so I can see it better here. All right, so first things first, we're gonna start just creating a new project. So basically, I'm gonna do a new project here. Let's call it security webinar. Um, just the defaults. Okay, finish. We have a project from scratch, right? So it's a complete blank project. Just disclaimer here, this is the way that I'm doing it. Sometimes probably there's any other better way to do it. So happy to hear if someone actually can give recommendations, but all right. So the first thing that I do is once my project is created, I'm starting creating my YAML files, right? So I'm going to go to new file and start creating my the YAML. I will create a test, the YAML file, and finally a production one. Maybe the production, we're not going to use it for this demo, but it's important to mention that just, to have cleared all the environments that are playing in a real scenario. All right, so once we have the YAML file there, I'm going to kind of start just writing in the dev YAML file some of attributes. So we can have, for example, Salesforce, and we can start just running the attributes there, right? Like, can be username, password, and we are going to use a token. All right, and I'm going to also create a new variable called just, it's not completely needed, but an environment variable just to know that we are in the dev file. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy just the same into test, because in a real time, in a real scenario, it's we use dev and test just at the same with the same attributes and the same values, and eventually, obviously, production change, right? So the dev environment is connected to your local or your branch, your local branch, and then test is connected just to test, right? All right. So next step here is I'm gonna go to my configuration file, and I'm gonna start just including some elements here. So I'm gonna create a new one. No, in this second here. Before that, let's jump first into Exchange, and this is just because we need to include the security model. So I'm gonna select MuleSoft. I'm gonna just type security. Um, secure. All right, secure. In this case, it would be the Mule Secure Configuration Property extension. All right. So if I select this, you'll see the option to include it into your project. So just you need to click on it, and automatically, after proceed, that will be just included in your project. All right. So just 1 second here, and the next step is let's include some global elements. So let's include a global property. The global property basically is gonna allows you to select from the environment. In this case, sorry, is we are gonna select which environment is, and we are gonna put like a just a variable environment, right? Like yeah. This is gonna be the variable that we are gonna populate dynamically. We're gonna tell it is dev, test, or production. It depends of where you are working. Usually in the local environment, obviously is just dev, right? I'm gonna explain where we are gonna put those variables. So if I click on OK, the way that I do it is I right click on my project. I'm going to debug or run as, and I'm going to the run of debug configurations. And after I click my project, I go into the environment tab here. This is important because I think between Mule 3 and Mule 4, for Mule 3, what I needed to do is just to set as an argument the -d environment or env, and I can just populate the variable. In Mule 4, what I noticed is I need to go into this tab environment and set the values. Right, so I see this somewhere for all projects. Let me just close this out. It's 1 second. Questions. All right, I'll get it back here, but configuration. So no. I have some here. I'm gonna try just once more here. All right, we're gonna get back at some point here just to set this attributes. The application is gonna fail if we don't set it anyway. So let's just set the next the global element. So that's one second. Okay, so the next step is basically we're gonna add a configuration property too. So let's go create. Well, let's put it just property. We're gonna select a configuration property here. The configuration property basically is gonna allow you to tell Mule which file we want to use depending on the variable environment that we have for environment, right? So basically we have the environment. It can be test, dev, and dot. We are gonna say it's a YAML file. The YAML file is gonna just be picked based on the environment. So if it's dev, then it's gonna be dev.yaml file, right? So we're gonna use dev, and this in our demo. So I'm gonna click on OK. And my next step is going to go into my canvas. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a basic flow. I'm going to add an HTTP connector, basically a listener just for executing my flow once I deploy it. And I need to include a configuration for this. Right? So let's add one configuration. Everything will be just the default, just for the demo. And we're going to put here just, yeah. Right. So listener is okay. The next step is I'm going to include a logger. Let's just set some messages in here. So for the loggers, basically what I want to demonstrate is how we can, based on the environment variable, how we are going to show certain values from the YAML file. And this is going to lead us to the next step, that is the implement the security part, right? So now I'm going to just put like Salesforce username, Salesforce.username. All right, and I'm gonna put some values in here. So I'm gonna put maybe just so what I can do in here, just one second. Okay. Okay. So just one second, please. Okay, there's these credentials. One second. Just sorry about that. I didn't capture the credentials before. Let's put here. Basically, this is just demo, so no sensitive information in here so far. So this is just for the demo. But basically, as you can see here, we are going to use these are Salesforce credentials. So we're going to use this username, this password, and this token. So what we are going to do is basically we are going to encrypt the password, right? So I'm going to make it easier here because sometimes special characters may have just I'm going to explain those characters at the end if we have time. I'm going to just leave it just like this, okay? So once we have this, I'm going to try just to run our project. I assume it's going to fail just because the environment variable that I mentioned before is not set for some reason in the studio. After it fails, it just clean everything, and I need just to set the environment variable again. So let's do that is the case. All right, so it failed, and it failed because it couldn't find the environment variable, right? That's what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do in here is, again, just going to debug configurations, environment, and as you can see, basically, I don't have the environment there, so I'm going to create a new one. And the environment variable will be def. So we just click on OK. We apply the changes and we click on debug. And we say yes. All right, so just one second. Yeah. Okay. Give me one second. Just give me one second here. That'll be fine. Let me just G processes again. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's just what I said the properties there. So, okay, so I need this space here. Okay, let me try it again. Oh man. All right, let me see because I have something just. Let me just write something very quick. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so sources. Okay. All right, so let me just copy this. There you go. So it's nothing. I think it is. All right. So again, sorry about that. All right. So the application got deployed, and the next step will be just for me to make my browser a little bit smaller, just to hit the endpoint, right? So it will be localhost 85 dash 9. Let's see. This local, sorry about that. This localhost. All right, so it's localhost, and we can see in our in our logger that basically we are pulling from the dev YAML file, right? So let's move on and let's encrypt the actual password here. Okay. So let me copy this. Want to make sure that it's the right password. Just 1 sec. Sorry about that. All right. So okay. So what we're going to do is now the next step is jump into let's like this. So in order to encrypt the attributes right now, let me move my terminal just this way. So before to actually encrypt our values from the YAML file, we need to download a file that is provided by Mule of the secure properties tool. Basically, it's a jar file. And what we need to do there is basically to set just a command line thing where we specify which encryption mode we want, the algorithm. We're going to specify that it's in a string value, the one that we want to encrypt. We're going to select a master key. Basically, it's the master key that is going to decrypt all our attributes in the YAML file. And we need to keep just that key in some place where we need just to set up later for decryption on the CI process, right? So what I'm going to do right now here is let me just jump real quick and just some notes that I have because I have the actual command here. So as you see here, I'm going to use, I don't know if it's visible completely. Let me just do this like this, and I'm going to explain. All right, just 1 second. All right. Hopefully there is the full the full text or the full command line. So yeah, so basically we're going to execute this jar, and we're going to tell him like, okay, this jar, we're going to pass you in a string. We want to encrypt this a value using the algorithm and method. And basically here, we are going to use this master key, and we have the actual value that we want to encrypt. And in this case is the Salesforce password, right? You can see that it's a MuleSoft 2018. All right, so if I click using this command, you'll see the output from my terminal basically is this encrypted value. So the next step basically is going to copy this value, get back to my YAML file, and in the password, I'm going to replace the actual value between the quotes, and I'm going to use these curly braces, exclamation. This is a way that actually we tell Mule that this is an encrypted value, right? And we paste the encrypted value in here. All right, so once we have this value, we know that this is an encrypted one. We need to keep our master key secure somewhere. So as we did for the environment variable, in this case, we need to include the master key as well. So for that, I'm going to just copy the master key. That is a MuleSoft demo 2018. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go to debug as debug configurations. I go to environment, and I'm going to include the master key one. And I'm going to just paste this. Okay. So now we have a master key. Let's apply this. We close it. And that's okay. So now we have the YAML file ready. Information is encrypted. Let me just do it a little bit like this. Yeah, information is encrypted. So the next step is get back into my configuration file, and we need to include the secure property configuration. All right. So in here, we are going to tell which file we need to encrypt. So basically, we pass again the environment.yaml file. The key is already in my environment variable. So basically, what I'm going to do is do a master key, and everything else is just the default. We encrypted with AES and CBC. All right. So we click on OK. We saved, and the next step for me is going to include the Salesforce connector. I'm going to do a query, pretty straightforward. Just try to move on because time is ticking. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to include the configuration for the Salesforce connector. So basically, I'm telling using Salesforce.username, use the Salesforce.password, and use the Salesforce.token. All right. If I click on test connection, it's going to fail because at this point, Mule seems like it's not just getting the environment variable dynamically. In order to test the connection, that probably will be just good to do it before actually execute the project. I'm going to just go back to the global elements. I'm going to, this is fine. So I'm going to just go in here and I'm going to click on dev. Just in the meantime, so I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to get back into the secure properties and the master key. It's, yeah, we need to copy this. So master key will be this. So the only thing that I want to make sure is that the actual Salesforce connector is going to work. So my query will be just a select ID, name from account, limit 100. 100, that's it. So let's just validate that our connection is fine. So I'm going to click on test connection. All right, something is not correct here. Let me just confirm. I just have it around here. Just one sec. Let me see if I have the command somewhere here. All right, so yeah, so this is for deployment. Just one sec. Okay, just give me one sec here. Just want to make sure that I have access to Salesforce. All right, so I'm having issues just getting logged in here. I'm gonna do something pretty quick here. Yeah. The what? The what? Sorry. Can you repeat that? On the Salesforce config here. Ah, you're right. Sorry about that. Yeah. I just think like before to that. Yeah, but you're right. So we need to do like secure column, so we can tell Mule to decrypt the value using the other things, right? Let me try that once again. I'm kind of suspicious. Yeah, like it's still kind of yeah, because it seems like it's not the right one. Just let me confirm pretty quick this. Okay, so I just want to make sure that the actual credentials are. Okay, one second. Let's, just one second, please. Okay, so. Just one sec. Yes. Okay. So is this? Okay, so one second. Let me just. This pretty quick. So let's say. Just one sec. All right. So I just changed the credentials pretty quick. So let me just move on pretty quick in this. And for configuration, sure. So token change. I need to change this to. Just one second. It will be. All right. So I'm going just to replace this value here again. All right, it should be good now. So let's move with the configuration again one more time. So first token, okay. This Salesforce password. So it's not correct here. Okay. Yes. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So yeah, let me do that now. So let's run this. Okay. Okay. So seems correct. All right, so yeah, that's fine. Um, okay, let me try it again then. All right, let's just copy this value again. It's going to place it. Okay, just one sec. It's going down, yeah. So, there you go. Again, here, just click on secure disconnection. It fell. Sorry about that. It's like this. Okay, good. So sorry about that. So I should probably just check the connections before, but all right, connection is successful. We already encrypted the value. And yeah, as we mentioned, is we need to use secure double column in order to actually decrypt the value. So we tell Mule that value needs to be decrypted. It uses the master key. It knows which environment is, and basically brings the data, right? So it makes the connection correctly. We're gonna click on OK. I'm just gonna get back here pretty quick, and I'm gonna include a last piece just before to any other thing. So, all right. So let's just show the JSON this payload. Okay, so this is it. All right, so I'm gonna rerun the application. Yeah, that'll be the last part then. Okay, so application gets deployed. I'm gonna just rerun my script. And that's it. So basically we see that Salesforce gets connected, the password is encrypted. We should do the same for the token, basically. And yeah, so overall the process is just like this. It seems like we don't have more time for the CI process. I definitely would like to at least document this other section. But for now, I think it is good time for maybe leave the time for some Q&A. Q&A, yeah. Sure, no problem.
Hey, yeah, that was awesome, Edgar. Thank you very much for the presentation. I think that was a great demonstration of how we can use secure properties, how we can safeguard our passwords, right? So it is. So, so that's good. So let's look at some questions. I see people were asking some questions on the chat. Let's go from top to bottom. Let's see. I'm just scanning through the questions there.
Mhm.
And probably I will just keep your screen share on the screen.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
me on the screen. Yeah. So the first question, guys, please feel free to keep dropping your questions. And so what is the path? I think the demo one is fine. When I'm trying to add the Mule secure configuration, it simply shows the download option. Did you do anything different when you added that configuration from the exchange? Or
Yeah, so that's something important to mention here. Basically, is yeah, Exchange should be open from Studio. Basically, from the icon that we have on the top, because if we do it outside, like in a browser or something, it's going to give you that option to download and everything. So and also sometimes it gives you like maybe a dependency or something like that. But the best way and easiest is just clicking on this, go directly and look for look for the secure part, and just like select it and add it in your project, and that's it. So that's the easiest way. All right. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that is one. The next one was will we get a user guide doc for reference? Rajneesh, I'm not sure which user doc you are referring to. Is it the secure configurations documentation or this presentation that Edgar was doing?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
So we'll wait for his question update, but let's keep going and see what is the next question. Oh yeah, so one of the question was like, where did you get that secure properties tool.jar? Can you show the place where you get that jar file?
Yeah, I don't remember just right now, but let me just pretty quick, because I remember I wrote like I wrote a blog and I put like the link to download it. Just let me see if it's from some Mules of Places. Give me one sec.
Mhm.
I'm looking right now. So I remember. Okay, the jar file. Let me see. Copy link. Oh yeah, I have the link here. So I don't know if I can share it. I mean, probably you're seeing my screen.
Mhm.
You'll be able to see that is from docsmulesoft.com, downloads Mule runtime for the one secure properties tool.dr.
Okay, if you want to put it on the chat, I can drop it on the chat also.
Okay, awesome. Uh, let me let me see, because I think I don't have access to the chat right now.
Uh, okay, never mind. I think I found it on the document, so I'll just drop
Perfect.
it. Drop it is the same link. I will drop it on the that
Awesome.
is the path for jar. Okay, so jar is taken care. Next in the jar hyperlink. Yes, CVC secure was good. So what is the difference between 3.9 and the 4.1? The way you was using the properties, is it still the secure colon way to access it, or there is a different approach to when you are using in 3.9 versus 4?
I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's, I mean, if we talk about encryption, the process is obviously a little bit different. We still can use properties files. YAMLs is kind of the standard right now in Mule 4. And the difference in Mule 3, if we talk about just like the encryption process, it might be kind of the same, right? So in the end, the final procedure will give you an encrypted password. So I think it's just that. And the only problem is just to how we decrypt those, how we are decrypting those values, and how we are setting up the project in order to do that, right?
Okay,
But yeah, that's probably no difference on the process, but and the process behind, but the process on the setting up the project, I think.
okay. Got a generic question. Is it possible to dynamically change the property value in YAML?
Sorry about that. Can you repeat that?
It's a generic question. Is it possible to dynamically change the property value in YAML file? It's, I think, generic question, not related to.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, as I saw sometime a post. I don't have it in my mind right now where it is, but I saw one where the attributes of the YAML were dynamic, like the keys were dynamic. Like you have like a bunch of order numbers or something like that, and those order numbers has a specific value that you wanted to inject in the YAML. And there's a way to, I think this is a way to read it dynamically. Definitely there is. There's no that I know on top of my head that we can create them dynamically in the YAML file, but reading them dynamically, definitely we can.
Okay. Yeah. If the key is not encrypted, is it secure? Then I think it's a referring to you put hard coded value in your configuration for the master key. So
Oh,
what is the best way to put master key?
oh yeah. So the best way to do the master key thing is I'm gonna do here in the screen pretty quick, just the secure properties configuration. Obviously, is not to have this here. So we created it as a environment variable, basically. So in here we should just do like
As in your left
master
screen
key.
is not visible. If you want to slide to the right,
Yeah. Let me see.
yeah, that's good.
That's good. All right. So we do the master key there. So in the global element should be just like this. And how we inject this value, there's basically for this, we are using Maven, right? So on behind the scenes, if you clean, like you do like a Maven clean or Maven deploy, sorry. So basically you can pass a parameter that is basically the master key. And in order to do that, like in clear and in the terminal, for example, that's why we have like the CI process for Jenkins or Circle CI, where you create an environment variable and basically you also put that value there. Like, let me see if I have actually the command how it looks like whenever you want to deploy. Let me show you that because yeah, that might be that's actually pretty interesting.
While you
So
are looking at, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so let me just put this in here. I have an Evernote here, so there you go. I think it's better. Yeah, so basically this is the sentence, right? So whenever you want to deploy, if you are doing it from terminal, you have this master key like this. But if you are using your CI process, basically what you do is you have a master key variable in your Circle CI or Jenkins, and basically that will change to something like this master key test. So that will be the best way, and actually I think the best practice to do it. Nobody knows that value, and only the administrator or one specific person knows which is the value in order to decrypt those passwords in this case.
Yeah, that's true. And I think generally you cannot encrypt the master key itself, right? Like whatever is your whatever is your super key to decrypt things, that has to be somewhere available directly to the runtime.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next is how the process of decryption occurs at the back end. Does it get the decrypted while running or execution of the application?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think the decryption might happen. Just, I mean, on behind the scenes whenever we are running the runtime, because I know that whenever it gets deployed, obviously is decrypting the actual value in order to check that everything is consistent. Because sometimes what I notice is if we want to actually run an application and sometimes the value that we are decrypting is not correct, is not actually deploying the application, right? So probably is doing it just before.
Yeah, it's proper. I mean, it should still follow the same principle of property usage, right? Like properties are always resolved at the deployment time.
Yeah, right.
That's true. Okay, there is one more better way to do that. In fact, two better way by the need to do both. Command, we can do it all any point studio. That's true. I think we are right on the time. Maybe let's take one or two questions, but don't worry. Like whatever questions are there, we will probably like send an update back through the emails from the meetup channel. Let me scan through server session. So one of the things is in Cloud Hub, if values are changed, no restart is required. So Cloud Hub behaves differently, right, from your local on-premise runtime.
Mhm.
There is a restart, but it's just abstracted from you. You may not see it, how it is happening behind the scene. It's just you update the property, and then what you see is it's being referenced. So there are probably a lot of things that happens behind the scene in Cloud Hub which are not exposed to user, and the experience from there versus what you do in on-prem might be different. Is that right?
Um, I think, yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% sure about it. I mean, I don't want to actually lie about it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Can you post this deployment command in the comment? Yes. Can you send that command, or probably is it possible the slides that you was presenting, if you could update those commands in the slides, and if we could send those slides to everyone? Is it
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's what we will do, guys. All the commands that Edgar ran, he will capture those in the slides, and I will send that slide link to everyone, all the attendees, via the email back to you guys. That should be fine.
yeah. And I don't know if, I mean, just for mentioning, if you, I'm gonna update the actual blog spot, that sorry, the blog post that I did before.
Yeah.
Basically, that is this one that I'm showing on my screen. So basically, I will update it with the commands, all
Okay.
the references, and also including the CI process that we didn't have time to show. So,
Yeah. So please put all those links, and we will send everyone that link.
mhm.
Probably this is a good topic. It was a good discussion, a lot of question answers. We clearly see probably we should need a longer time for this discussion, and maybe we'll follow up over the email. So since we are at time, probably we need to stop here. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us tonight. I know for some of you it was very late in the evening, so we do really appreciate you guys taking your time and joining us here. One more thing I would mention is we really love your feedback, and we do take it seriously. So please send your comments, suggestion, criticism, anything that you think. Please feel free to send it back. You should receive an email after this one to give your feedback. So we will really appreciate if you send something. Apart from that, this whole thing is for community, right? So, and we all are community. So if you have any suggestions for the topics that you guys want to see in the future events, please feel free to include those topics in the feedback that you give us, and we will try to find in the speakers sessions and everything. With that said, if you are interested in speaking, you have a great topic, don't feel shy to like send a note back. Oh, I have something that I think would be interesting for everyone. So anything that you have for us, please feel free to include it back and send us as a feedback. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Edgar, for this great presentation. It was like super powerful. So once you send me the slides, I will send it back, send it to everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Bye bye.